So there's up past 60 miles an hour in the Ioniq 5. It's always a fun time, that's for sure, in an electric car.
That's right, tons and tons of that instantaneous torque.
So you're probably curious as to what this video is, and we're here just outside of Nashville, Tennessee for Hyundai's electrified program. We have a very short window here with the Ioniq 5, so we won't be able to do another full review on the channel. However, if you're interested in knowing about this product, we do have 2 reviews of the Ioniq 5 already.
Very extensive coverage. But today we just wanted to kind of, add some details about going on a little bit of a road trip here, and we're also in a totally different part of the country, like Mason was saying. We're in Tennessee,
quarter mile, you will arrive
and here in Tennessee, we're on a country road.
Right, it's very different from San Diego, which is where we tested it out before.
We're just on the highway, so we'll give you guys kind of a little bit of a driving sample and talk a little bit more extensively about our performance, since we spent a little bit more time with it now. Right,
and we also have more perspective on this Ioniq 5. So it's going to be pretty much more of a discussion of the Ioniq 5, and now that we have a little bit more experience with it, more experience with this competitive set as well. At the time that we made the Ioniq 5 review, we had not driven the EV6, so we can talk a little bit about the differences between those 2 products as well. Just kind of stepping on it there. That's a rolling start.
It tickles your belly a little bit.
Yeah, so as you probably know, this is a fully loaded Ioniq 5. This is the limited model, and it does have the dual motor all-wheel drive system, which does mean this is the most powerful Ioniq 5 you can get right now. Hopefully they will make a more powerful version as well soon. We haven't been confirmed on anything like that, but this particular model right here is going to have 320 horsepower, 446 pound-feet of torque. Goes 0 to 60 in around 5 seconds. So this is a pretty darn quick SUV, to say the least.
Right, and when you kind of power out of these corners, like I said, that instantaneous torque is just fantastic. So what are you thinking so far, Mason? You've been doing most of the driving here on this trip, out on the country road. What are we feeling that's, we didn't really get to experience in San Diego on the flat highway?
Yeah, so that's, of course, a big part about this video is, that experience, and I'm happy behind the wheel of this Ioniq 5 on a country road. This honestly feels very close to home and what we experience in Lexington with a few country roads, and the Ioniq 5 handles it really well. Now, from experience, this is a little bit less sporty than the Kia EV6, so I was actually very curious to know, how this Ioniq 5 is, on a country road, and honestly, it is pretty impressively controlled. It handles the corners well, and it does so in just a really nice manner. It has the comfort, but it also doesn't really sacrifice the ride quality too much at the same time. Really, really, really nice accelerations. But as I was saying, when it comes to the dynamics of the Ioniq 5, that's really one of the most impressive elements for me, is that it rides super, super, super well. For those of you who aren't familiar with our channel, we do own a Tesla Model 3, so of course we're familiar with electric vehicles and their ride quality. This is going to be a lot more comfortable than something like that. A lot more comfortable than a Mach-E as well. We've been in really all of the electric SUVs at this point, and I think this is probably the most comfortable option that you can get, especially meshed with these nice seats here. These are super comfortable seats as well.
Yeah, this is really lovely. But having the battery pack low and across the ground of this, being on the global electric platform, it's made from the ground up to be an electric vehicle, and that keeps the center of gravity really low. So like Mason was saying, you can have this pretty good handling out here on a country road while simultaneously keeping just fantastic ride quality when you're on the highway or you're in the city.
I mean, it really does provide a good balance between being very comfortable as well as just having decent dynamics. You don't feel like you're going to fly off the road. And in a lot of traditional gas-powered SUVs, I might honestly feel like that, especially for something with a wheelbase the size of a Palisade. So the accelerations never get old, guys.
I do want to mention the standard range model, because we didn't have a lot to discuss with that information because it hadn't really been released when we first drove the Ioniq 5 back in December of last year. So I want to give you guys kind of some specifications on that. It's available as the SE standard range, so it's going to be basically a base trim level. You're going to have a smaller battery pack, a more affordable price, importantly, and it is going to be paired with rear-wheel drive, not the dual-motor all-wheel drive. So in terms of the specs that you're going to see on that specific model, that's going to be 168 horsepower and a range of 220 miles. And like I said, that's going to bring up the base price of the Ioniq 5 all the way down to $39,700. So that's before you have any federal rebates or anything like that. So if
quite
you're
important to keep that in mind. You know, you're looking at low $30,000 price point for the SE standard range if you factor in that tax credit. So that makes it one of the most affordable EVs that you can buy now.
Yeah, and you know, this is a crossover body style, of course, as well. And if we're talking about what we have with this specific model, you're going to be looking at a base price of $54,500. You might have to pay a little extra for certain types of paint, and you know, then you have your destination charge again. Take that $7,500 off as a federal tax credit, though. Now, you do still get unlimited 30-minute Electrify America charging sessions for the first 2 years of owning this vehicle, so that's certainly a pretty nice perk. And one other thing that's changed since we first drove the Ioniq 5 is some expanded availability in terms of which states they're on sale in. Initially, it was available in just the 10 or 11 zero emissions U.S. states. Now, the availability as of today has been expanded to 26 U.S. states. And of course, the idea is that we'll eventually get to all 50 U.S. states.
Yeah, and guys, that's going to pretty much wrap up this video. Yes, this is a very short, brief look, and if you're interested in knowing all about the Ioniq 5, all the specs, all the driving dynamics, we do have another video on the channel. We did just want to provide a little bit of an update here in May of 2022 about this Ioniq 5. Is this, you know, one of the best EVs to buy? Well, now we have a little bit more information for you to make that decision yourself. So thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already.